Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Hearthstone's Asia-Pacific Winter Playoffs are rapidly approaching. They will be played next weekend, and we have already had two sets of Winter Playoffs over the past 2 weekends, starting with Europe, then there was Americas, and now it's coming the Asia-Pacific. And this is a really interesting time because these high-quality tournaments played week after week during the playoff season are really shaping the Hearthstone metagame. Especially the tournament metagame, but they also have a significant effect on the ladder meta, when decks that are really shining in these tournaments are being brought in increasing numbers to the ladder. And meta is really changing. We already saw in Europe there were only a couple of combo lineups that did pretty well. In Americas we had a significant, but still a minority of combo lineups, which did extremely well. And now, in Asia-Pacific, we are seeing a clear reaction to that. So, looking at these meta numbers, first, these are the classes that are being brought. These are the raw numbers. These are not completely comparable because there is a couple of players difference between the regions. There were 80 players in Europe, 76 in Americas, and there will be 79 in Asia-Pacific. But in order to make them more comparable, I've also included percentages of the field. The graphs are fairly similar because there's only a couple of players difference. Anyway, Hunter started out as the most popular deck by far, and it is still popular, don't make a mistake. Hunter is still one of the top classes, but actually Paladin has risen up in popularity for Asia Pacific and taken the #1 class spot. We already saw the rise of Priest in Americas in response to what happened in Europe playoffs. And Priest is still a significant factor in Asia-Pacific, whereas Warlock has been going down now. It really failed in Americas against all those combo lineups, and against all the combo, Rogue shooting up. Whereas there were 3 classes that were brought by a great majority of players in Europe and at Americas: Hunter, Paladin, Priest. Now we have Rogue joining them as the 4th class, so now there are 4 classes that are in the majority of lineups. And correspondingly, with combo decks being feared, warrior numbers crashed. There was actually one odd warrior who made it all the way through at the Americas playoffs, but he was just able to dodge the side of the bracket where most of the combo decks were. And players in Asia Pacific do not believe that they're able to dodge combo anymore. Shaman already crashed after Europe and it remains slow, and Mage has been fairly steady-ish. And Druid, especially combo variants of Druid, are on the rise, and that's why Druid has actually risen up a fair bit at Asia Pacific. Primarily because of Hakar Druid, which was a great success at Americas. Looking at archetype level, we can see even further shifts. For example, Priest as a class seemed to be fairly unaffected, it's going pretty steady, but looking at the archetype level, we can see that Mind Blast Priest actually has went down a lot for the APAC playoffs, whereas Clone Priest is going upwards. And also these combo decks, APM Priest as well, +5, 8 APM Priests at APAC. And when you're having a combo deck meta, then faster combo decks are generally better, so we can see that OTK Wrath Paladin was not represented in Europe at all, came up in Americas, still increasing for APAC, whereas the pure DK Paladin, the one that does only the Horseman kill and no Shervala Holy Wrath combo, that has went down to just 1 participant. Other major losers for the Asia Pacific are Even Warlock and Odd Warrior, 2 decks that really couldn't take the combo pressure at America's playoffs. Whereas combo decks and decks that are good against combo decks are rising: Odd Rogue, Even Paladin, and the Warlock meta shift towards Megatoon Warlock. So if you think that Hearthstone metagame might sometimes feel a little bit stale, well, this is 3 weeks of Hearthstone metagame, and that's a lot of changes. Another interesting question to ask is, okay, well, now we have seen the changes on class level, we have seen that there are even more changes on archetype level, but are there also going to be even more changes on deck level? So is a hybrid hunter from APAC the same as a hybrid hunter from Europe? Or are these actually different things now? As for the hybrid hunter, not a whole lot has changed. There have been some changes in the secret package, The current secret package in APAC is Freezing Trap, Venom Strike Trap, Wandering Monster in every deck, and Explosive Trap and Snake Trap in most of the decks. Whereas Snipe has really fallen in popularity. Snipe was, at one point it was half of the decks, now it's only 6 out of the 46. It has been going down throughout each playoffs. And something that has been going up on the other hand is having Candle Shot, having that early weapon in the deck. Dire Frenzy remains popular. It has been in almost all the decks throughout these tournaments. And that is still the case. This sample list is from SamuelTsao. It actually runs a fairly comprehensive secret package with only single copies of all the secrets. No Snipe and 1 copy of Candle Shot. So some minor changes going from Europe through Americas to Asia Pacific, but nothing too major for the Hybrid Hunter. I guess nothing too major has happened to Odd Rogue either. Tar Creeper builds are still extremely popular. Well, Tar Creeper is a good card against Hunter, and Hunter remains popular, so it's not that big of a surprise. Various these sort of tech cards are going down a little bit. Crystallizer, Void Ripper, Ironbeak Owl. These are going down a little bit just in order to bring up a very steady, very aggressive curve. Captain Greenskin is becoming more popular. Cobalt Scalebane is present in many of the builds. Also Edwin Van Cleef is getting a little bit more representation. Overall, the Odd Rogue builds are going for a very straightforward, on-curve, push damage type of style, which is quite predictable actually if you think that they're targeting combo decks that don't have a lot of defenses but are cycling really fast. So you also just want to cut all the tech stuff and just hit. This sample list is from CitizenNappa and it's fairly representative of what an Odd Rogue build at the Asia-Pacific Playoffs looks like. Even Paladin is also brought to counter combo decks, and the even Paladin builds that are being brought are also showing a little bit of that anti-combo approach in their deck choices. The number of Spellbreakers is going downwards a little bit, and Mojo Master Zihi is actually starting to get included. It's still in the minority, but 9 out of the 33 even Paladins have now included the Mojo Master, whereas it used to be a very rare sight. The decks are also getting a bit more streamlined. Valanyr has been cut a little bit more, although there are still, majority of the builds are still Valanyr builds. And Spirit of the Tiger, not a single one at Asia Pacific. There were a few in Europe, there was still 1 in Americas, now there are none at Asia Pacific. Which is also consistent with that going for that anti-combo, going for steadier curve, faster, more aggressive. That's just the style for these tournaments. This sample list is from Tyler and it's fairly well representative of what an Asia-Pacific even Paladin looks like. It does have the Mojo Master Zihi in it, which is not in the majority of decks, but this is currently the rising card in even Paladin. As for the Holy Wrath Paladin, the majority of Holy Wrath Paladins are still 1 copy of Holy Wrath. They are not going that deep into the Holy Wrath Shirvala combo, although it remains an option, but of course all of these Holy Wrath Paladins are also capable of doing the Uther OTK, because every one of them has a way to bounce 3 Horsemen, one way or another, or sometimes even more. Because all of them have Zola, so that's 1 bounce to the hand. And after Zola, the majority of lists have also 2 Youthful Brewmasters, so they can actually bounce 3 Horsemen back into the hand. But there are also some lists that don't actually have any Brewmasters, they only have the Baleful Bankers. But in that case they will have at least 2 Baleful Bankers, so they can shuffle 2 Horsemen back to the deck and draw them from there if they need to go for the Uther OTK. In accommodating for the combo meta, these decks are also going for a bit faster and less removal heavy builds. So Shrink Ray numbers are going down and they are being replaced by a 2nd copy of Holy Wrath. The lists with 1 copy of Holy Wrath are still more common, but 2 copies of Holy Wrath is coming up, because that gives the deck a little bit more faster combo opportunities. Also, as a bit of a surprise deck, 4 of these decks also include Mojo Master Zihi, so the rise of the combo meta over the past couple of weeks has really seen the rise of Mojo Master Zihi as well. Still in a minority position, but becoming a more common deck choice nonetheless. This sample list of Holy Wrath Paladin is from MegaGliscor, And it is one of these rising double Holy Rat builds. This build is still a Zola double Brewmaster one banker build, because that double Brewmaster style is by far the most popular one right now. One of the most rising archetypes right now is the Clone Priest, and we're seeing a shift within the Clone Priest as well, because back in the first playoffs, the Clone Priests were very likely to run Gilded Gargoyle, Lyra the Sunshard, the Lich King. This was the norm. There were only a few exceptions. But now, as you can see, only 17 out of the 29 decks, which is still a majority but only a small majority, are running this more minion heavy package. And even the decks with the more minion heavy package are including Vivid Nightmare for more combo options. And the decks with fewer minions in them are of course really relying on Vivid Nightmare, because they really want to get off that Velen Malygos combo. This list from Katsucurry is very representative of this rising style of Clone Priest. As you can see, it runs this smaller minion package. There's Radiant Elementals, there is still Ziliax, then there's Velen, Malygos. And that's it. So this style really wants to make the most out of spellstones, most out of cloning gallery, maximize the chance to get the OTK, at the expense of some defensive capabilities. In just a couple of days we will be entering the third playoff tournament. And it has been really interesting to see how much the meta has changed. Because now the best players are trying to bring the best decks, and that really sparks innovation. And allows for testing of these archetypes and clashing them against each other in a high stakes environment in a way that cannot be achieved in practice. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.